The member from Parkdale-High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier. In 2009 and 2010, the government, including the current Premier, voted to support the first two of my 5 bills to allow municipalities to pass inclusionary zoning bylaws. And yet, when the government released its long-term affordable housing strategy in late 2010, inclusionary zoning was nowhere to be found. Last year, the government voted to support a bill by the Liberal member from Etobicoke Lakeshore, which also would allow for inclusionary zoning. As yet, when the government tabled Bill 73 to amend the Planning Act, again, inclusionary zoning was nowhere to be found. After 6 years, why hasn't the Premier followed through on her government's repeated pledges to support inclusionary zoning?
Thank you.
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by thanking the member from Parkdale-High Park. She's Parkdale-High Park. She's been a relentless advocate on a number of files related to social housing and inclusive zoning. I've had several conversations, good conversations, with her, as well as the member from Etobicoke Lakeshore on inclusive zoning, and I just want the member opposite to know that we believe it's important that we have a strong housing platform. We're working on it. We're doing a long-term housing strategy, and should we decide to employ inclusive zoning, and we're looking at it very seriously, as the member knows, it would be part of that strategy.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Again to the Premier. 3 times over the last 6 years, the Liberal government has voted in this House in support of inclusionary zoning. The Chief City Planner of Toronto says Toronto would have an extra 12,000 affordable housing units today if the city had been allowed to pass an inclusionary zoning bylaw 5 years ago. Instead, the wait list for affordable housing is now at a record high, with over 168,000 Ontario households. This is a crisis. How much longer will the Premier force Ontarians to wait before she finally honours her government's repeated pledges to support inclusionary zoning?
Thank you. Minister.
Well, I suspect, Mr. Speaker, not much longer. And let me just say, Mr. Speaker, that we continue to meet with municipalities, primary stakeholders who have a number of issues and concerns which we're walking through, and also other stakeholders, because if you want to do something like this, particularly if the goal is to house people who need housing, you want to do it right.
Yeah,
so should we do it, and I anticipate, knowing that we're looking at it very carefully and strategically, if and when we do it, we'll do it right.
Thank you.